was when I got engaged. Traditionally, I guess, when they came to Patela Mahadi. Well, when they came to Kokota the first time, yes, that he was very excited. It was actually hilarious. He went from one room to another, joked about how maybe I should leave now while he still can. And another one was graduation. I was the first to graduate, last born of three, but first, so it was a big deal for my parents. He was my hero, more than a role model. He was a rock. When I started working from varsity, that first year was such a huge adjustment for me, and I was just so glad that Heki Chaisa, I could just call him and go. He was that person. He was a soundboard, a safe space, rock. So he wasn't a role model as if he was something I could become or attain. He was in a higher position than that in my life. I got a call from my cousin. I was in the office. My sister called me and said, come back, come home now. But it was early in the morning. I had just gotten to the office, so it didn't make sense. But when someone speaks Katoni in that way, something's wrong. And yeah, she was like, no, come home now. I'm like, okay, sure. Got on the train. On my way to the station, my cousin calls me and she's crying. And then she's like, listen, this is the situation. I just got called from the hospital and Ramholo, for her name, Ramholo passed away. And I knew it had to do with my dad, but my cousin was the first official person to tell me. Yeah, that's how I found out. Honestly, I needed to stay calm. I was on public transport. I couldn't lose my mind. I couldn't faint. I started breathing, and I just made sure I keep breathing. And I remember I was on the window seat, and tears just started rolling down my eyes. But I had to be okay, because the last thing I needed was people asking me what's going on, am I okay? So I quickly wiped them off my face, and I was like, we'll do this when we get home. Let's just make sure we get there. I had to pick up my sister. So from the hard train, I went to the car. And my sister was in town, but she wasn't okay. She couldn't drive herself home. So I had to pick her up, and obviously that was a lot, because now both of us are in the car and we are losing our minds. But I have to be okay, stay calm, drive. So in that moment, I still had to be a stronger version of whatever was happening to me until I got home. And when I got home, I allowed myself to face it, to face the news of losing my hero. That's what happened. I broke down. My then fiance, now husband, yeah, he was the first call, then my best friend, and then my boss. Honestly, arranging a funeral that week of the loss becomes like you almost autopilot it, because you have to put a funeral together. You have to, especially if, like, at that age, we were part of the big conversations somehow. So that first night, yes, I was aware of what was happening, but a lot of times I was thinking of the logistics and practicalities of everything, the arrangement of the week and the funeral. So most of the night was fine because one, you're always surrounded with people, right? Until you have to go to sleep, until it quiets down and you're faced with the realization how you're putting together a funeral. That's what happened. I had to realize that we're arranging my dad's funeral, and I was alone, having to face those emotions. I couldn't sleep. For the first few weeks, I cried myself to sleep. I couldn't just sit and sleep. I just cried. So yeah, that was not only the first night, but many nights after that. Yeah, no, the mornings were hard, having to continue with life, having to talk to people, answer phones. I remember people who upset at me for not talking to them about stuff, and I was like, are you kidding me? I'm going through the closest thing I could describe to hell. I don't know, I always told people I take it a day at a time, because one day you're okay talking about him and laughing, and then the next day you're alone and you just start breaking down. Learning to live with it, not a forgetting, or no, you learn to live with the pain. That's why 3 years later it could still evoke very similar emotions to the day you heard. Does it ever sink in? One, I wanted to catch up on my life, My dad called me every day, so there'd be a lot of catching up to do. But if he was here, I just want him to hold me. I wouldn't say anything. I'm not a talker. I'd want him to hold me.